warning today from the Department of Agriculture over the government shutdown that the tens of millions of Americans who rely on food assistance programs through SNAP may not receive the benefits starting next week. And the Trump administration now says it will not be tapping into emergency funds in order to try and keep SNAP afloat. SNAP is better known as food stamps, is a program that helps low-income seniors, people with disabilities to buy groceries. Nearly 42 million Americans rely on it. That's 1 in every 8 people. Among them is Juan. He's a disabled Navy veteran who cares for 2. Now, thank you so much for being here. I think it's important first for people to understand. It sounds like, to a lot of people, like a convoluted, acronym-filled government program. But what do SNAP benefits really mean and provide for you and your boys on a regular basis?
SNAP benefits is literally the lifeline that feeds us at the end of the month when we receive them. It bridges the gap between when my VA disability runs out and when the next month's disability funds come into my bank account. And so, it's critical to our home, to our refrigerator, to our table.
And Juan, now you have the Department of Agriculture sending out notice that the money will be running out starting next month. What is that going to mean? I mean, 5 days from now for you, what options do you have?
There's not a whole lot of options. I'm gonna have to stretch, what we do have out, eat maybe a little bit less, rely on Soldiers Angels, which is a food drive they have here at the VA every month. Hit up other food drives, food pantries, and just make sure the boys eat before I do. And just that's what we'll do.
It's always tough when you've got young kids in your care. What's the conversation like with the boys? Are you talking to them about what it could be looking like if something doesn't change in the next month?
It's a fine line because the 2 boys I take care of, their mother is addicted to fentanyl, and she left them in my care about 9-10 months ago. And I want them to have as normal life as possible and not have to worry about the stresses that parents or adults have to deal with. And so I try to just make things consistent and easy and joyful for them, so they're going to enjoy being kids. And so they don't really know some of the stresses and struggles and things coming up that we may not have to. So I haven't really talked to them about it. And I don't know that I necessarily will if I don't have to.
No, it makes total sense when they're already clearly dealing with more than any young kid should have to in their lives. So you have the administration. The administration has found ways to redirect funds in some other ways to make sure military members are getting paid, and also to keep a different SNAP program specifically for women and children afloat. They are saying that they cannot rework funds for SNAP broadly. They cannot tap into contingency funds. When you hear that, I'm just wondering what you would hope what is your message to Republicans and Democrats on Capitol Hill, your message to the Department of Agriculture and the White House to understand while they have this political fight and you are very clearly stuck in the middle?
Right. Like you said, the president can move money overnight to fund pet projects, and he can move money surely to keep veterans and children and working families from going hungry. And I would say any man, woman, or child in the United States, the richest country, the most powerful country in the world, should never have to wonder where their next meal is going to come from. And so the world is watching. We need to get this right. I understand there is divisiveness in politics, but this isn't about politics. This is about priorities, and our priority should be the citizens and making sure that we have food on the table when that was promised to us.
Juan, we'll definitely stay in touch. Thank you very much for coming on this morning to tell your story.